This is a picture of a man stepping out on faith. As you can see in this video, he's got the wind to his back. His eyes are blindfolded so he can't see what's in front of him. And he feels that every step that he takes is being ordered by God. As you can see, the silhouette in the bottom is God's hand, ready to catch him before he falls. I feel that this picture is symbolic of me. As I continue with this video, hopefully you'll understand why. Welcome to the Marfan Experience. My name is Michael Martin. The reason for this video is broken off into two different parts. The first part is to teach you about a disease called Marfan syndrome. The second part, I want to share my gift with the world. Overall, I feel people who have gifts that hold on to them, those gifts die with them. But those of us that choose to share our gifts, we have an impact on society. We have the ability to change, save lives, as well as influence a nation. I'm going to talk about saving lives and sharing my gift in part 2 of this video. But at this point in time, I just want to take a moment to teach you about Marfan syndrome. Now, when it comes down to those of us who have Marfan syndrome, I represent the 1 out of 10,000 club. To those of us who don't have Marfan, to those of you that don't have Marfan syndrome, allow me to explain. The 1 out of 10,000 club is the ratio of children that wind up with Marfan syndrome when neither parent has the gene. So they say if your parents don't have the gene for Marfan's, 1 child out of 10,000 ends up with Marfan syndrome. How lucky could I be, right? To have this disease. Wow. But I also feel that each coin has a positive and a negative side. When it comes down to those odds, I already know the negative. I'm just hoping to experience the positive soon. When the world talks about Marfan syndrome, it seems that we talk about it in a celebrated state. We think of individuals like Abraham Lincoln and Michael Phelps. And of course, we have a reason to. Those two individuals, especially Michael Phelps, I should say, are truly role models for me as well as the Marfan community, based on the accomplishments that both of them have done. Abraham Lincoln, one of the top U.S. presidents of America. Michael Phelps, the best Olympic swimmer America has ever known. But unlike Michael Phelps and unlike Abraham Lincoln, I seem to know Marfan syndrome on a more intimate level. When we think about, well, first of all, let me explain to you what Marfan's is. When the body produces a hormone in abundance by the name of fibrillin, fibrillin is what's responsible for making the muscles in the body stretch. Well, people with Marfan syndrome, our bodies produce too much of it, and it ends up saturating the muscles in our body along with the connective tissues. When we think about connective tissues, we think about fingers, toes, elbows, even the eye lenses. But there's a different portion of connective tissue that Marfan syndrome seems to destroy. That can pretty much mean life or death. And I'm talking about the carotid arteries and the portion that I seem to know on a first hand basis, the aorta, the main heart valve of the heart. In the past 10 years, I've had 4 open heart surgeries. These surgeries include having to replace portions of my main heart valve, the aorta, with graft and mesh material in order to make sure that I'm still alive. So let me kind of break it down to you by showing you as simply as I can. This hanger represents what the aorta looks like. Right at this area right here, this is where the heart is connected to the aorta. When we come up here in this area, this is where 3 spouts that feed blood to the brain are. Then the aorta comes down. Around this area is where the aorta connects to the spine. Down here is where it travels through the stomach. It comes out of the stomach, splits into 2 separate parts. This part feeds blood to the right leg, and this one feeds blood to the left leg. My first surgery was in 2001, where I had this portion of the aorta replaced. In 2006, April of 2006 to be exact, I had the upper portion of the aorta replaced that fed blood to the brain. Around this area right up in here, everybody's main vocal cord rests right on top of the aorta at this level. The surgeons that were performing the surgery at Christ Hospital, Dr. Pat Pappas and Dr. Anton Tatulis, explained to me 2 things before that particular surgery. Number 1, in order for them to do the work that they needed to do to repair this portion, they had to sacrifice my main vocal cord. What that means is they had to take the main vocal cord and pretty much clip it out of the way. Upon doing that, my vocal cord became paralyzed, which is the reason why I speak with a raspy tone. After these years of going on, I've gotten used to my voice. Wasn't always like that though. I think the main thing that really hurt out of all that was when they told me I could never work a regular 9-to-5 job another day in my life. Felt like the whole world was crashing in on me. What was I gonna do? How was I gonna live? I had custody of my oldest son at the time. I still do, as a matter of fact. But how was I gonna provide for my only son at the time? Let's just say God made a way. Later on in 2006, December of 2006, this portion of the aorta had to be replaced. In 2012, February of 2012, this portion on into the legs of the aorta were replaced. At this point in time, there's only one small piece of flesh left to my aorta as we speak. And that part is destined to be operated on in the years to come. It's already etched in stone. Problem is, the surgeons don't want to do the surgery because, well, unless they have to, but they don't really want to do it because of the fact that those surgeries can end up making me paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of my life. So, for however long they can stall with going after that portion, they're going to do that. So I'm all for that. You know, to be 1 out of 10,000, when I look at those odds, it makes me feel like how Americans feel when we play the lottery. You have a 1 out of 10,000 chance to win. Well, in this particular case, like I said earlier in the video, I lost. I've made lemonade out of my lemons up to this point in my life. I'm cool with how everything is going. But you have to understand something. The man that's sitting on this camera right now today is not just a man. It's not just a survivor, but he's also a father. Which is leading me to the second part of this video.